a good bit of the audience that follows the Big Data Big Question show they're interested in getting involved in big data analytics and those part, and that's a booming area, right? All of IT, right? Like all of IT and development is huge, but there's folks who are drawn to that, and those are some of the questions I'll get is, hey, are there other things that I can do? Like I want to be in that industry, but maybe I don't want to write code, or maybe you move to different portions in your career. So we had Erin Banks on a couple weeks back, and she was talking about how she went from a more from a technical role and went in and transitioned into product marketing and that side because she liked from the house person. I'm going to steal that so much, but she
It really just makes sense, doesn't it? Because there's
yeah
no hierarchy. There's no
yeah
hierarchy. It just gets the job done.
yeah. And so being going to conferences, speaking gives them the opportunity to be in that community and learn, but also not feel like somebody, because some people don't want to be building and programming all day and sitting or standing at their desk. So um
Absolutely. And marketing, the broader marketing roles can really give you a lot. You do a lot of different things during the day. So that can be the other thing. Some people like to go deep and focus on something. Other people like to go a little more broad. So marketing roles can give you that opportunity to be a little more diverse in what you learn. You're kind of you have a little more freedom maybe to go across various interests. So I think there's some advantages to that too.
So speaking of getting to do cool things and being fairly diverse in what you can do, for folks who don't know, now you had I've seen you do some pretty cool things in marketing. I know I think at Dell Tech World you used to run around and do interviews. I know you've
Oh
on a
yeah.
podcast. So how much of going back to your you get into tech, you get in start taking on new roles, how much of it has been you getting outside your comfort zone, or did you kind of have it planned out like, hey, I'd like to start doing some podcast and maybe I would like to interview people on camera? And when you were doing it, I don't think there were a lot of people doing it at other companies. So I thought it was pretty innovative.
Well, I have an unfair advantage. So I do live in North Carolina. I worked out of the Cisco RTP offices, and 2 or 3 cubes down was Brian Gracely. So for those who don't know Brian Gracely, he is one of the two co-founders of the Cloudcast podcast, a very
Okay.
well known, the OG of cloud podcast, if you will. So when I was going to this first, it was a Cisco Live was the first conference I ever went to, and VMworld was the second. So just imagine somebody who'd never been to any sort of conference over 100 people, and that was step one and step two. And he he thankfully took me under his wing, and it's one of my strategies I tell everybody. I was just really fortunate to have a mentor like Brian, but find yourself a mentor who knows what's going on and who can introduce you. So he was very up to date on how to make content, how to do different kinds of content. Um, and he saw that I didn't know what I was doing and took pity because I asked for help and he offered it. So I got this email right before Cisco Live that was, or it was before VMworld, excuse me. And he's like, are you willing to be on camera? And he's like, I need you to bring the following things to work. And it was like it was a ridiculous list that included like a change of clothes, a box of pasta, and a pair of leg warmers. And
Pasta.
yeah, it was completely like, okay, but I'm the sort of I'm a yes and type person. So I'm like, sure, like he's so smart, he knows what he's doing. Let's do this. And he's like, don't tell HR because it's I was like, okay, weird list, sure. And then I'm watching on Twitter the next morning, and and his VMworld 6 word was taking a ladder to work today. And it was the day we were supposed to film. So now I'm really wondering what's going to go on. Anyway, he had a great idea. Instead of just doing typical tweets to get people excited about what Cisco was doing at VMworld, we made a video series, which included me and a pair of leg warmers, like warming up for the conference. It was all completely ridiculous. He had scripted these things, and I was hooked. I could see that there was a different way to communicate. So I went to my first VMworld where I was leg warmers girl to a lot of people. I didn't know anybody. And it's not the way I would recommend everybody get into it, but the point is like you just kind of have to jump in and do it. If somebody gives you this opportunity, go for it. If you need to ask for an opportunity or set up your own thing, go for it. I would encourage everybody who's thinking about this to start to develop their expertise and start to document their expertise, because one thing Brian taught me for sure, if you have to tell somebody the same thing twice, document it. Make a video, make a podcast, write a blog.